Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. It's mid-May 2021, and I wanted to chat about an email that I got from one of my subscribers about the simplicity of trading Forex. Is trading Forex simple? And it is, but I've done I've done 100 videos talking about this, so how simple could it be doing 100 videos? So we'll get into that, and I wanted to go out and do this outside because it's such a beautiful day. Take the dog out, but I'll go out. And we just had the grass mowed in our part of our spring cleanup. And we have all that done, so that's really pretty. And Sue's been out getting her gardens ready. So we're going to go out here, and we've had some rain the last couple of weeks, and the brook is, well, it's flowing a little bit, flowing easily. Currency trading is not easy, but it is simple. It can be made simple, and I think that if you've gone through enough of my videos, and some folks have said, I'm tired of listening to your videos because you say the same thing. No shit, because that's important stuff. What am I, a fucking clown? Am I going to entertain you? Having a bull chase me around in the ring? I don't think so. I've spent my whole life making things simple. You know, as a software engineer, that's a very complex discipline to be in, particularly when you're doing business applications development, which is what I did. I have become familiar with over 30 different business problem domains in my career. And if you're going to write an application for one of these things, you've got to really dig into the complexity of the business and figure out what the problem is, how it fits into the business, and how you can break that problem up into component pieces to make it simple. Otherwise, you're just like a lot of these moron computer programmers. They just spaghetti code the thing out. Yeah, it works for a while, but God, go in and try to change it to make it do something different. You know, I've been working on a simple computer simulation modeling of price action, staging in and staging out, and risk management and stuff. And it's a relatively simple concept, the problem, but I'm going to run this thing probably through about 800,000 to 1 million iterations to get a smooth average of the probabilistic outcome of these different settings that I'm going to have. It's a whole matrix of settings that I'm going to go through and iterate through. So if you make one little mistake and you're going to repeat that little mistake a couple of 100,000 times, that's going to really suck. So you have to take time in it. I've been working on this thing for about a month and a half. Now, I've been out, as you can see, it's a beautiful May day, and we're just having a great time watching the spring come in, and so I haven't been as diligent as sitting at my desk for 8 hours a day to write this program. But when I do sit down, it's to solve one main issue, and that's all. And when I'm done with that, if I don't have enough time to do another one, well, then I'm going to go on and go take Bodog for a walk, or I don't know, whatever it is I'm going to do to make it simple. So the Forex currency markets themselves are certainly not easy, and they're certainly not simple. They're inordinately complex. And the process of trading is complex. And so you're going to add a complex trading process into a very complex marketplace. It's a shitstorm. And so that's why if you aren't disciplined and you don't do your preliminary analysis of what the markets are and how they're constructed and how you could go about interacting with those markets. In other words, that's what the trading plan is all about, the discipline of going through and making a trading plan. Trading plan doesn't tell you how to do something, it tells you what to do so that you don't do stupid shit. And most people don't have a trading plan, and they're not writing notes down as they're going through learning the mechanics of trading in their simulated account, or when they finally get going on their live account, they don't make notes and stuff. And those are all things that will allow you to simplify things. So if you're impatient and got to burr up your ass in order to take a $1,000 account and make it $10,000, you're not going to succeed. You're going to blow that, and you're going to blow the next $1,000, and you're going to blow the next 1,000, or it could be $10,000 at a crack. Doesn't make any difference. You're not going to be successful because you're not making these complex systems, these complex interacting systems, simple. But you're not going to make them simple. You have to make you simple. You have to understand how to filter out all the clutter to figure out what the key points are. And that's what I try to do in this video channel and in the writings that I do, and the blog posts and the books that I've written. No, I don't have any books that are not published. I don't publish books. I write books for myself, for my own education. So if you look back at some of the early Forex books that I've written, you go back and say, well, that's just total gibberish. Well, it is, because it wasn't meant to be published. It was meant for me as a learning thing, but I wrote it as a book that would be published because I took it seriously. But that's doing the work necessary. Now, do you have to write a book? You don't have to write a book, because there's simple paths through this stuff. You should probably have somebody help you through that, but if you don't want to pay for that, because it's not going to come cheap, nobody's going to show you this shit for free. I'm certainly not going to do it. I'm going to charge you more than anybody else probably, because I don't need your money. So you're either going to have to work with somebody to kind of point out the path through the woods, or you're going to have the discipline or the prior training on how to abstract out key nodes of importance from a complex system, so that you can say, okay, I got this key node, and I got this one, and I got this one. What order do they go in? I get the first one. What's a simple solution for doing that? Yeah, let me bore you a little bit with an example of how we do this in computer business applications development. When you're writing a computer program, you're obviously trying to solve a business problem. Let's say your business problem is you want to be able to have a customer create a bank account at your bank. Or better than that, let's do because I haven't done a banking app before. I worked on lots of applications for airline reservation systems. I did that for a couple of years. That was really interesting stuff. So a guy wants to have you, an airline wants you to write an application for you so that somebody could do an airline reservation online. Well, that's a really complicated process, because you have to interact with the universal global flight ticketing scheduling program, and you have to put up all the flights going out of somewhere and where they're going into, and the times and the pricing. So that's a really complicated thing to do. But what's the first thing you're going to want somebody to be able to do when you when they sit down at the computer to make a reservation? What's the first thing? They want to look up what flights are available on a certain day. Just don't worry about what comes or where you're going to get that information. There's none of that stuff. So you write a little bit of code that simply puts a screen up for the user and allows them to enter a date, right? And what would the airline reservation system do with that date? They would go out to the flight registration systems and get all of the flights of, let's just say it's for one airline, Delta Airlines or something. I worked with British West India Airlines, actually. That was a lot of fun. Second tier level airlines. So you'd want to say, okay, I've got for this particular airline on this particular date, these are all the flights that I have. That's the information that you want to get back. Good. All you need to do is write one piece of code that allows the user to put in a date, and it's going to go to some other place, some other object that's going to find that information for you. And that's all you do. You just enter a date, and the program goes out to this object that's going to collect this data, and it comes back and it puts a message up on the screen that says, great, you've arrived at our flight display screen. That's it. Doesn't do anything else. You don't have to concern yourself with security. You don't have to concern yourself, logging in. You have to concern yourself with how they're going to pay for it. You have to concern yourself with shit. All you want to do is get a message back from that object that will ultimately search the database for flights on that particular day. All you want to do is get back one message that says you got here. And so you've taken what will become a very complex screen of taking in information and communicating with a whole bunch of other applications in the background to collect this data, sort the data into an order, format that data so that it looks great when it comes back on the screen, and have the ability for the user then to click on that data to send a message back to the reservation system to say, this is the plane that I want to, the flight that I want to take. I mean, that's all really complicated. But if you just, okay, here's my date, and I just want to check back, and I got a message back from some object out there that that will ultimately provide that information. In fact, when you're writing really complex situations like this, you don't even create that object out there. You just put your screen up, and you have the user enter the date, and then they send the date calling this object that's out there, flight display object. And you know what? If you didn't write that, you get an error back. The application blows up. Okay, I know what I got to do. What do I got to do to fix that? I got to create that object with a method on it that this message will get to, and it's going to turn around and send me a message back. So you create that object, you create that method, and send the message back. Then you go to the next problem. Well, what do I want the thing to do after it gets to that object? Well, that object has to go out to another object to find some flight reservations. So you write the message on that object that you've called to call another object to get information, and it blows up because that object doesn't exist. So you got to create that one, and you incrementally step your way through one step at a time, and you only write the program to do that one thing. Send one date to get one flight information back. Once you do that one simple thing, you can say, oh, I need all the flights on that date between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. That have meals and will allow me to take my dog with me. But once you establish that one clear path, the rest of it becomes simple. It's not easy to do something simply. It takes a lot of work. And so in responding to those of you, thank you very much for all of you who have subscribed to the channel and who communicate with me through email. I don't like to communicate in length through the comments. In fact, most of the folks that watch my videos don't do comments. They send me an email. And I try to help you through the emails to the best ability that I have. So if you're looking at the comments and you're not getting back answers that are answering how to do something, that's because how to do it is a more complicated process of teaching, as opposed to what you need to do. There's quite a difference there. And then you have that last component of it, is when do you do that? So, is Forex simple? No, Forex is not simple. You're not simple. But it's your job to make your process of trade analysis simple. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about, you know, I have a short 8 pip stop. I'm working on a 5-minute time frame with an ATR of 5 pips, and so 8 pips gives me a 1.5 ATR. That's not a standard. If I was working on a daily chart with 120 pip ATR, I'm certainly not going to be doing, you know, a 180 pip stop. It doesn't translate that way. But you would create whatever rule that you wanted to create. Mine, because I'm a day trader, if I'm wrong, I want to get out. I'm not going to sit there and wait around and see if I'm going to be right. It takes a tremendous amount of skill to create a trade entry process of analysis, so that the trade doesn't go against you. So when you're learning, you have to expect that you're going to lose more times than you're going to win. So you put that short stop there, so you lose a lot. But every time you lose, you don't go, oh fuck, I just lost. You look at, well, why did you lose? I mean, if you're doing a stupid moving average crossover system and you're doing a trade entry based on that, eventually you lose so many times, you're going to say, well, Jesus, what happened? Well, then you go about the process of studying why that methodology that you've chosen doesn't work. But you just do it one piece at a time, and you be very simple about how you go about doing that. And from that, you develop a broad view of the problem that you're trying to solve. How do I get into this trade? And although that's you know, if I sat down with somebody and we were having a beer and we start talking about trade entry, we could sit there for 2 hours, 3 or 4 hours and talk about that. You could read books about trade entry. But when I'm looking at trade entry, I have 3 questions that I ask myself, and I make the trade. I don't have to sit there and look at it. I don't have to do any preparatory work the night before. What the fuck do I want to do all that for? I want to go in the morning, and I want to sit down, and I want to determine, do I have a trade? If I do, I sit there until the opportunity, the when part of it occurs, I take the trade. If I'm wrong, I'm out right away. I make the decision either to go back in later or call it a day and go have a cup of coffee and do something else. If the trade works out, I'm not trying to get 100 pips. I'm trying to get 10, 20 pips. So if it doesn't look like it's going to make it all the way to 10 or 20, I'll scrape it off. I'll take 8 pips. I'll take 5 pips. You know, if all I did was make 5 pips a day, you could make a living doing that. Not on a $1,000 account, but, you know, when you're trading some size, 5 pips is a lot of money. You trade $100,000 account, it's $100 a pip. 5 pips, $500. That's $100 a year if you could do that every day, 5 days a week. So what you need to look at is the simplicity of the methodology that you have, so that you're not making it work. Because as soon as you make it work, as soon as you make it complex, you're going to make a mistake. The more complex the system is, the more likely it is you're going to make a mistake in working with it. That's why I just railed against these stupid asshole computer programmers out there, that they just throw shit against the wall and they get the thing to work, but then as the client says, oh, I needed to do this, and then they fuck the thing up beyond comprehension trying to get it to do that. And then to go to try to go into that code and to make it work and to fix it and make it malleable, what they call extensible, is brutal. It costs more money to maintain and enhance computer programs than it does to write them, because you got a bunch of dumbasses writing this shit that all they need to do is write it and get it out. They get credit for it. I delivered it. I got it done, and leave it to some other dumbass who's going to have to fix it. You don't get blamed for that, because there's so many programmers out there and they got their fingers and everything. Who are you going to call? Who are you going to hold accountable? So when you're in your currency trading, who are you going to hold accountable when you're losing? You have some guy that's trying to teach you how to trade, and if he doesn't know what to do, if you're spending $2,000 for somebody to tell you how to calculate lot size and what a friggin' pin bar is, or a crossover moving average, you know, you're just wasting your time. You're going to blame them instead of blaming yourself and saying, okay, I'm stupid. I made a stupid mistake. What do I need to do to fix it? So, is Forex trading simple? No, it's not simple. But I make it simple. And so, if you ask me, is Forex trading simple? Yep, it is simple, because I made it simple. But the market itself is not simple. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.